Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pop Culture Reacts as we are winding our way through OK Computer by Radiohead and we are at, I'm probably going to guess, is their biggest single?
I would. I mean, do you mean from this album, or
Yeah.
do you mean like in general? Because I think "Creep with Death." I don't know. Possibly like latterly, maybe the most played. I think at the time, I haven't looked, but I think Karma Police would may have sold more or on a par, but I don't know. Is the honest truth.
Because I feel that this was the one that was on more, on like the music
Um,
videos and stuff.
I don't know. I weirdly enough, I kind of remember on music channels. I would say I remember hearing Karma Police more, but I don't know that. I think they were both relatively big successes. The two, uh, I said about how much I love Paranoid Android, and I think that got some play. But I think these two sort of far outstripped it in radio play, or truthfully, like music television play at the time.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's quite probably a close battle between the two. But I would say maybe latterly this one has stood the test of time with the wider audience, maybe a bit more.
Mm.
Maybe.
So, should probably say, no surprises.
Oh yeah. We there was no surprise. Well, there would have been no surprise if we'd actually said it.
Ah,
Got a video for this one as well, haven't we? So,
yes.
and P.S. When I say we got a video for this one, apologies to anyone if there isn't a video when I say this, because if I can't get the video through copyright, you make it the song without the video. But ah, anyone who watches reaction things, you kind of know when we do YouTube reactions, some things we can put up, some things we can't, and sometimes we have to find creative ways to get them on the channel. But I'll find a way.
So, shall we jump in?
Let's do this. No surprises.
There will be a
I do
surprise
that a
for
lot.
you.
I do that a lot. I just say a the song title, and then expect something magical to happen. Dance me, monkey, dance.
Well,
Yeah, no surprises.
would you like a surprise?
Yes, I would.
Hearing this in the context of the album is actually turned it around from being that fucking mm, where I have been with every time I've heard this before. That oh fuck, it's the grating Radiohead song.
So before you venture too far, I'm really glad you said that. I didn't expect you to say it, and it is a surprise to me because this is the song I wrote down that this will be your least favorite on the album. I had a small hope in my heart that actually it coming off the back of the last track might dramatically change it. Not even just in the context of the album, but coming off the back of the haunting, creeping into this more melodic, lullaby esque thing, but by still having quite somber and dour lyrics. There was a tiny bit of me that hoped. But yeah, I did think this would be the one you'd like the least because I know it's one of the ones we've talked about before, and I know probably, and I'm going to put words in your mouth, and you can kind of say whether it was or not. Is that probably in another universe or previous to this, you've kind of just heard the lullaby-esque elements of it and Tom York's voice. Whereas I think with the extra context, it's not just Tom York's voice and the lullaby. It has a lot more kind of contextual reason for being that. But I will shut up now and let you talk about this song that I thought you'd hate.
See, as you said, with how every other time I've ever heard this song has been either it's come on like MTV or it's on its own. It's never in the context of the whole, and it is that thing of like where my my standing on Radiohead was oh look they can do some decent songs because I'd heard Creep and I'd heard Just
Yeah,
and I was like where's that band more than thing and then oh, you hear that oh fuck me dour depressing oh look it's got a little bit of a little there was where I've always been with this
it's up
but
there, isn't it? Because you say down depressing, like, I mean, like there is sort of huge like lullaby elements to it, which I think for a lot of people isn't particularly selling point, but it is for me because you don't get many people who do
mm,
very much lullaby, but as much as I think that is. And I think this is generally considered a critical word anyway, but where it kind of could potentially be criticised for its kind of twee kind of more childish elements because of that lullaby. I'm with you with the this feels like the vocal delivery is that thing that people say Radiohead are, isn't it? It
yeah
is that dour down delivery. Oh, I love it. I love the dour down delivery. Yeah, but I'm totally with you. This is kind. I think this is the song that when I hear people describe Radiohead, I often think that they're talking about this song in particular. Not only this song, but this is something that um I don't know. It's a lot of people's impression of what the Radiohead sound is. But yeah,
mm. But said with it in more of a context of like like the album because obviously you've got a what we've just had the last couple of songs and or everything since the Stephen Hawkins but fitter and faster or
fit happy. Yeah,
fitter happer that you've had a tone that flows through the stuff of anti-government psychosis slash serial killer into a, this that to me is very much a realization of but does any of it actually matter you
yeah,
know I just want my house with my garden and nothing no surprises just give me my happy ever after coming out of being fed lies being fed murder or self doubt, and it's just gives it a little bit more of a context behind it than what I'd ever had with just hearing it on its own.
So like when we talked about the perceived Radiohead, and that's not like necessarily an unearned perception. I seem to remember when we did the Bends going like starting off and going, no, everything isn't depressing, but then talking in nearly every song about how this was like dealing with anxiety and depression about pressure. But I think it's often a little bit kind of too reductive because it is crafted. Go back to the lullaby. So I think the lullaby style of the music is great, coming off the absolute horror
Nastiness.
creepiness of climbing up the walls. But and so what you just said about the happy ending. So this is a totally different song for me than what happened to you. So and this is why I love it. And again, lullabies, things you played to kids, quite sweet, quite twee. This is, and again, for me, how it hits for me is this is someone who has come to the realization that this is life. Governments will lie to me. About the only thing that you can offer me is a pretty house or a pretty garden. Give me no alarms and no surprises. Just let me die. Just end it. Because if that's the pinnacle of what I'm going to get, I don't want to be in this world. And I'm not saying it's a song advocating suicide or necessarily, but I think it is that not necessarily the physical suicide, but the giving up, the
Mm.
actual. But because it goes along with what would generally be seen as like you play lullabies to kids to kind of I don't know like get that smile out of their face, but it actually is an absolute juxtaposition to where I get the song going, which is my God, there isn't much out there for me. I'm stuck in these systems. I'm stuck in these constraints. The things we've talked about in other tracks, like the political structures, the power structures, the technological structures, and um, I don't really want to be in that. And as I say, it doesn't necessarily have to be a kind of a physical suicide, even if it's that kind of I need to mentally die to
Mm.
be reinvented, possibly to find a way to live in this world differently, because I don't want to follow those structures that are as I say, I go back to the Such a Pretty House, like I think that is in there on its own of going, that's what that's the highest I can attain to. I don't really want that, but again, just how it hits me, and how it's kind of always hit me. And as I say, I think at the point, it was me. I'd started on the path of going. I'd been told, go to school, get your GCSEs, get your A levels, go to university so you can get a job, and then you'll be able to. I'm not entirely sure which order I'm supposed to have done this in, but I can um, uh, find someone, get married, buy a house. I'm not entirely sure which way around you're supposed to do that either.
Yeah.
Have the kids, and that's the life dream. And I think I really was starting to go. I know that's what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not sure that's my path. And having,
Mm.
I guess, a song that talks about I'm not very enamored with what is presented to me as the worldview that we're supposed to go down. It meant a lot to me because I was like, okay, I'm not alone. And I say that I'm not alone. Like now, I realise I'm not alone. I realise that there are millions and millions and millions of people on this planet. So there are people with so many sort of varied ways of thinking, and some of them will think similar to me. But I think when you're sort of 17, 18, you don't
You
see that
think
so
you're the
much,
only
do you?
one.
Well, and like we went to school, and I'm sure if you looked around your school, you would see some people who maybe behave differently, acted differently. But I think you are, to the most part, I think people are a bit more um, archetypal. So you'd have the sporty kids over there doing sporty stuff. You'd have the kids behind the bike sheds smoking cigarettes, and sometimes those groups would cross because the sporty kids would smoke a cigarette. You had I'm going to pick out like people who played like D&D over there, or people who were really musicy over there. The SWATs were over there, but you felt like you had to conform to a group or one of these systems. Whereas yeah, I'm now getting to the point where I'm listening to this where I'm going, I don't know whether I want to be that.
Mm,
I think I want to find what I want to be rather than what I'm told I should be.
yeah, but yeah, it will surprise you, and it will surprise many people who've ever heard me talk about this before. On the, it has changed my
I'm
opinion
glad though
on it.
because I do think it's and as I say I did have a bit of precursor like when we first talked about doing Radiohead, like I knew you weren't, let's say, their biggest fan, and you'd heard snippets of it, and I kind of knew that it was this and some songs like this that had been something that you weren't particularly enamored with. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do them, and one of my hopes is, I think there's so much more to it than potentially what you just get at face value if you're hearing it in the background. And
Mm,
as I say, the beauty of listening to albums is sometimes putting something in the context of what they were creating, rather than it just being here is a singular song and they did 7 songs like this. It is part of the story of the album, I guess.
yes. So as always, down there,
I was
let
going to
us know
say
what you think.
there's 2 more bloody songs on this album. I'm thinking about cutting it off there. Let's end the album now. Don't think we're going to get any higher than that. You've gone from your least favorite Radiohead song to you going, yeah, actually, I've changed my mind on it. Like, I pull the plug. No more Radiohead on this channel ever. We've succeeded.
As always, YouTube things, like, subscribe, and ring off the bell. And until next time, good day.